I like the people in Shilbottle. I think they're very kind, caring, good fun, very pleasant.
It's a very friendly, welcoming and pleasant community to live in.
The friendliness of all the people, that everyone knows everyone, which can be a bit of a problem at times, but it's nice as well. Everyone's friendly.
I just love Shilbottle. It's my home. I've lived here for 8 years. I've always liked Shilbottle.
There's always a lot going on from what I can see in Shilbottle, and people are very friendly.
It was a very nice village. Completely changed now, but it's still nice.
It's nice and fresh. We're up on the hilltop. It's quite handy to get anywhere. Nice and clean.
But I always come to church here for 52 years, and the people are very, very friendly. I like them very much.
Seem to get on. We do things like this, coffee mornings, all the other activities that go on in the community.
People are nice, and the countryside's really close by, and also the seaside, so it's really nice.
Because I actually come from London. I was born and bred in London. When I moved up, there were very, very few Southerners lived here. It was a very tight village, all locals that knew each other.
What I love about Shilbottle are the people. So they've been very friendly and welcoming, and the church has welcomed us, and it's a great place to serve. And the children in the school are full of joy and are always ready to greet us. So thank you for having us, Shilbottle.
Hello. What can I say about Shilbottle? Well, Shilbottle is the highest village on the A1. That's the Great North Road that runs from London all the way up to Edinburgh. It's 180 metres above sea level, and it has a population of just over 1,800. Agriculture and coal mining are really main occupations of people here in the village from the beginning of time. But what was the beginning of time? Well, the earliest settlement we have is on the Beacon Hill, which is the highest point in the village. Here they found stones of early prehistoric settlement. Then the beacon was used, let's say, a chain of signals, like an early warning system. They found remains of bonfires there, which had been lit in the time of the Armada, the Spanish Armada invading, or right up until the Napoleonic Wars. When we think about how it got its name, Otel was the Anglo-Saxon word for dwelling place, home, abode, and we presume that an Anglo-Saxon leader by the name of Shil decided to make this a point where he could settle with his people. Put those together and you get the Botel, the home of Shil. Shil's Botel, and over the centuries that has become Shilbottle. The people who live here often call Shilbottle a village of three paths, and that might sound a little bit strange. This is due to the historical development of the village that it grew up in three different phases. And at the moment we're sitting in the church, which is part of the oldest part of the village, or the top end, as we call it. So if we go on a tour of the church, as you can see, there is the window, which was put in 1921 to remember the dead of the village in World War One. You've got their names recorded on the panels on the left. On the right, we have the names of those who died in the Second World War. And below, a very fresh-looking one, is the name of Geoffrey Hughes, who was killed in Aden in 1968. And I really love these two wall hangings on the right and on the left, which were made by the quilters of Shilbottle. This one commemorating Christianity here, birth of Christianity in this area, but this one commemorating the millennium, 2,000 years of Shilbottle history. To the right of the church, we have the Peel Tower. There's lots of Peel Towers in Northumberland. They look like little castles. These were used to protect the people of the village in times of danger. They were built with 3 floors because in the bottom you would put all the animals of the village, the cows, the pigs, the sheep, the hens, whatever. In the middle you would have the women and children and all the old people, and then on the top you had the men who did the fighting. I don't know what they used. Maybe it was bows and arrows, maybe it was stones, boiling oil, who knows, but that was where the action happened, up on the top. So far we've talked about the oldest part of the village with the church and the Peel Tower. That was how the village remained, more or less from medieval times, right up until the end of the First World War really. Very few changes. A few houses went up, a few houses fell down. The big change in Shilbottle came in the 1920s. I mentioned at the beginning that the main employment for people in Shilbottle was agriculture and mining. There's always been coal mining in the area, but there was a pit, as we call it, at a place called Londike, just outside Shilbottle. But it began to run out of coal, and so it was decided to transfer the mining to the bottom of present-day Shilbottle to an area which became the Grange Pit. Now, they started sinking 2 shafts in 1921, and by 1926, the mine was in full production. This is when the houses grew up at the bottom of the village because they had to build accommodation for the officials who worked at the mine, but also for the workers and their families. And they built it according to what they called a garden city layout, which was very popular in the 1920s. And basically this meant that instead of just having rows and rows of houses, you built houses which also had a reasonable garden area. And of course for the pitmen, the miners who were working in the dark all the time, it became very important to have these gardens where they could, grow flowers but also grow vegetables, etc. to feed their families. So coal mining was always an important part of the life of Shilbottle. But Shilbottle today, even today, there are people who talk about it as being a pit village, but it is not a pit village any longer. The coal mine closed actually in 1982, but the coal that it produced was very, very well known, and even today there is a company based in Allenmouth by the railway line called the Shilbottle Coal Company, no longer produced here in Shilbottle, but it was the Grange Pit that was responsible, if you like, for the growth of the bottom end of the village. So anyway, I hope this has given you some idea about this little village. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch it, to listen to it, and I've enjoyed doing it.